Hey, this is Dougie here from Pixels and Plough, and this is episode 2 of Injecting Jazz into your playing. Now, Reece and I, Pixels, my good mate, we're trying to come about this from the perspective of a rock player. Both him and I know we wanted to extend our playing and add some jazz flavors into what we do without having to completely reinvent every single way we approach the guitar and music in general. So the three approaches which I'm going to talk about today, rhythm, scales, and chromaticism. Hopefully you can extend your concept of guitar already, and it's not something completely new you have to introduce to what you're doing. So the first thing I'd like to touch on today is rhythm, specifically adding the swing rhythm into your playing. Now, a lot of us as rock guitarists, we're used to playing with triplets a lot. We play triplets over 8-note grooves. Most times when we're learning these scale patterns, we're learning them 3 notes per string. For example, you might have an E minor pattern bass here on the 12th fret. That's quite standard for us to do, especially even if we're playing 8 notes in our rhythm guitar part. It would be quite common playing triplets over the top of that. So what happens with the swing rhythm is we're taking 2 8th notes and we're breaking it down into triplets. Now you're thinking, how do we convert 2 notes into 3 triplets? Well, one of them has to be larger in duration than the other. And the way we do this is, the first note gets 2 8th-note triplets, and the third one gets 1 8th-note triplet. So your standard, our pulse is ba, 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 becomes ba. Da 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 da. Now I've prepared an example here in D major for us to have a go at, and I'll play straight over it, and then I'll try playing it with a swing rhythm, and I'm sure you'll agree that it adds quite a jazzy flavor to what we're doing. And this is something we can easily put into our playing as rock players. Just take your standard triplet stuff, and instead of playing 3 notes of the triplets, try and pick 2 notes that work, and feel that swing. Da, 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 da. Now I'll let you have a listen to the example first before we start playing over it. Now last week, Reece actually covered some ways where you can extend chords that you're usually playing to give them a bit more of a jazzy sound, and he specifically spoke about borrowing from the Dorian mode for one. But sometimes just using the modes of the major scale doesn't cut it for giving you a jazzy enough sound. At least that's what I found when I was trying to discover that jazz sound. I think a lot of that comes from the modern use of the melodic minor scale. Now, you, like I, possibly was taught in school that when using the melodic minor scale, you come down with the natural minor scale. It was more of a classical melodic technique rather than a language from which harmonic language could be developed. So you would have played it something like this. I'm playing this in C melodic minor, and the way it works in a generic fashion melodic minor is 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's essentially a major scale with the 3rd degree flattened. But we would then come down the natural minor scale. So 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 going up, and on the way down, 1, flat 7, flat 6, 5, 4, flat 3, 2, 1. Something like this. problem of doing that, you don't actually get to stay in the flavor of melodic minor for long enough. If we treat it as a scale unto itself and explore the modes within it, I'm sure you'll find some of those jazzy sounds you've been searching for. So in C, the chords that give the most melodic minor sound, let's work through all of the notes in the scale. Off the first degree, the minor major 7 sound.
Bro, I heard that mistake. Sounded like crap. I'm gonna need some guest guitar solos on the new Pixels and Sound record, but I ain't gonna be calling you.
Off the second degree, a minor 7 with a flat 9 added in. Off the third degree, this is pretty much like a major scale built on the flat 6. So it's like a G on E flat in this example. Signature chord of the Lydian augmented sound. Off the fourth degree, a 7 with a flat 5. And you'll find this mode everywhere, the mix sharp 11 mode. It's a good way of combining that dominant sound with that great Lydian sharp 4 sound we're used to. We have the mixed Lydian flat 6, built off the 5th note of the scale. We have the Aeolian flat 5, built off the 6th note of the scale. And then possibly the most prevalent of them all, the mode built off the 7th note of the melodic minor scale. You'll see a billion names of this: Superlocrian, altered scale, and it's pretty much used for playing over altered dominant chords, which are a really hallmark invention of the jazz sound. These are dominant chords, so you've got a root, major 3rd, flat 7, and then you're adding in an extension of either the sharp or flat 9 or sharp 5 or flat 5. In any combination really, and so you can find combinations of sharp 9, flat 5 and sharp 9, sharp 5. That's probably the most common. You also hear flat 9, flat 5. Just up to you. It's kind of a performer's choice with how they'd like to do that one, but I'm sure you'll agree there's some real typical jazzy sounds that can be done from that mode. Master that scale in all its modes and you'll have a real facility over playing jazzy sounds. And now for one of the most obvious but one of the toughest things to actually get your head around, and that's adding chromaticism into your playing. Now I used to think I could maybe get away with it by just wanking out one of those chromatic scales between some of my lines, and sometimes it would work, but it didn't feel very methodical, didn't feel very scientific, and it didn't feel very reliable. And I'd like to try and make anything I apply to my guitar concept and how I hear music be something I can repeat in the future in different contexts. So that just wasn't cutting it for me. But one of the easy things I did see which can be added to the rock player's arsenal is to try and incorporate some neighboring chromatic tones. What I mean by that is notes that are one chromatic note away from a target note. So if you look at this scale shape here, that's our D minor pentatonic. If we grab just the top 4 notes there, we're actually getting all 4 notes of a minor 7 arpeggio. We've got the flat 3, the 1, flat 7, and the 5 there. Now we can take that shape and just shift it all up 1 fret. Similarly, we can drop it down 1 fret. And as long as we're emphasizing the notes at the original target tones enough, we can incorporate a pretty wide amount of chromatic variation in there and still have it sound like D minor 7. We don't have to just stay on minor chords either. We can do this in major chords. This is a very simple shape on guitar. There's 4 frets apart on both the E and B string. I'm playing C major 7 here. 3rd, root, major 7, and 5 there. You can apply that neighbouring chromatic tone concept as well. Just take it all up 1 fret or down 1 fret. Similarly, it should still work all over that C major 7 sound. I think you'll find a lot of good jazz guitarists, such as John Scofield, or Pat Metheny, or even John McLaughlin, when they're using chromatic playing, they've got a really nice target note in mind. And you get the main release when you actually get to that correct note. The chromatic notes just help set up for a really, really nice release. It's just masterful execution of tension and release, really. I hope you've enjoyed the new format for this last couple of episodes. We've been really trying to get better at delivering a higher quality video, and Google Hangouts really was letting us down as well. Just terrible quality here from my internet connection here in Glenmore Park within Australia. We don't have good internet here, especially without the NBN for me, so kind of getting sick of that quality. I was really proud of the content that Reece and I and some of our guests have had over the last 10 episodes, this one being our 11th episode, but yeah, just the quality was letting us down. So we'll be back together next week, have some banter off each other, and bring back that old format, but we're going to record things separately so we can get you an HD kind of quality video rather than some of the disgusting video quality and audio dropouts I've been giving you so far. So that's been me, Dougie Plough of Pixels and Plough, for episode 11, Injecting Jazz into Your Playing. Next week, prepare for some more banters, some more memes, and we'll try and add some funny shit in for you guys too. Dougie out.